So it's about 2 o'clock in the morning. Um, I ended up making it home, ate dinner, took a shower. I was in bed before 8 o'clock. I slept for a couple hours and I can't get back to sleep. Uh, my mind's just racing. I'm healing. Um, I was laying up in bed. I watched the latest video with Tina and Karen. It was just Tina's video. It's about an hour long. Um, But yeah, they're right where I'm at. Like they're doing the same thing. They're refusing. They're refusing to like settle. They're digging. They're digging. They're going deep. Um, and anyways, I'm making this because I got to get this out. I mean, it's just making me sick. It's making me really sick to my stomach. Um, it's becoming obvious to me that there are adults, whether they subconsciously or consciously. I think some of them consciously, some of them subconsciously knew that I had issues and took advantage of me, um, and have been playing me for a long time and manipulating me on purpose, in part of a bigger plan. It's very obvious to me. I mean, to say otherwise is just ignorant. I'm tired of gaslighting myself because it is what it is. I've worked my dick off. I have nothing else to prove to anybody. I mean, I've worked so hard in my life. Um, Nobody can tell me otherwise. The reason I'm saying that is, as poor people, I've been poor. I had one stretch there, in my 20s, early 20s, when I had my business, um, where I was making six figures and we had all the toys, and then I lost everything, and got a divorce, lost my family, um, and very shortly after went into minimalism and all that. Anyways, just trying to get to the point here, because this really doesn't want to come out. That's why I'm doing this, because it doesn't want to come out. Like it's trying to hide. It keeps on every time I want it. Like I feel like it should surface. It just digs deeper. And from my experience, when things are doing that, it's because there's a rat. There's a cocksucker in there that needs to be fucking exposed. You know what I mean? So we're gonna expose this one. Um, so throughout my life, it's always poor people helping poor people. I have family that is worth billions now. They're billionaires. The family's worth billions. Individually, they're all worth millions, multi-millions of dollars. I mean, it's ridiculous. Celebrities, I mean, all kinds of shit. It's very weird, very strange. Um, and the last time I had spoke with them, I had moved out. I'll be getting to this in my timeline here on the next timeline. But I wasn't even going into this detail on that timeline. And you know, that's why this has to come out, because it's trying to hide. It is trying to hide. Um, so the last time I had left my wife. I had my son living with me. I was losing my place. I was about to lose everything. I needed $1,200 for rent, and that would just barely. I mean, that was just going to buy me. I think that was going to buy me a couple weeks, and hopefully I could get some kind of gig doing something to make something pop. You know what I mean? It was like a bad situation financially. Um, uh, So I took my son and I went over to my aunt and uncle's house. And what had happened was the old man, my uncle's father, the old man, this is old money, the old man had just passed that day. And I hadn't talked to them in like 2 or 3 years, probably, I think. I believe it was like 2 or 3 years. I hadn't talked to any of them. And, I never received anything from these people. You know what I mean? It's not like that. There's nothing like that. And this is such a touchy subject, that it needs to come out. So I was in my, I was probably about 27 at the time, 26, maybe. I had my first business. I was 4 years into my first business. First 3 years, made 6 figures. You know what I mean? So I had been successful, done it on my own, and these things are going to surface. Yes, my mom had remarried. My mom had played games, remarried somebody, had a little bit of money. I had taken a couple little loans for a few $1,000s from them at certain points to build my business. You know what I mean? So just to get it all out there on the table. I mean, it's just, so petty, man, when you really think about it, how I've been gaslit and fucked with, and the shame and guilt that's been placed on me that I've had to deal with. So anyways, I needed $1,200. Like I said, that was gonna be enough to pay my rent. Just give me, I still had all these other bills. That was just a shot in the dark to hopefully buy enough time, because what was going to happen was I was going to go homeless and my son was going to have to go live with my ex. And I didn't want that, because she still wasn't in that great of a position, even though I had moved my daughter back in previously with her. So it's a fucking mess. So I went over there. My uncle had just died. They were dealing with that. My grandmother was there. I was like, oh, fuck, oh my God, you got to be fucking kidding me. What are the chances of this? But I needed the money. I mean, what am I going to do? I was going to go homeless. And so I told him, and basically I got played off. Like, I'm a drug addict, begging for money. They gave me a check for $600. I told them I'd pay them back. I've never paid them back. That was goddamn 15, 16, 17, God knows how long ago, 17 years ago. And I dealt with that shame and guilt of not paying them back for up until a couple years ago. So I started my business a few years ago, working for myself. It was really rough there at the first year. I hadn't taught. So that family, it's my mom is the oldest, her sister, who's married into that wealthy family, since we were little kids, and then her brother. And so it's the three of them, siblings, and they're all between the first and the last, it's like 5 years. And, so they're all very close in age. But my uncle had started now there's so much going on, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is like, I really am being careful getting into this, because like I'm shaking right now. I'm not afraid. I just, the healing comes when the healing comes, and things are coming as they come. And, I'm not living in fear. I am making a statement right now is what I'm doing. I'm making a fucking statement that I see what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I don't deal with that shame and guilt from my family anymore. And all that I have for about this situation is just, is like a intense Sherlock Holmes-esque curiosity to figure this out. what's going on. So anyways, my uncle had just gotten out of rehab a few years back, and had started his own business, electrical business prior. So he was working me part-time, not even part-time, here and there, just to get, just enough so I could pay the bills. This was just recently, so I don't even know. I'm skipping around. I might have to do this in parts. I got the $600 from my aunt and uncle, and I haven't talked to them since. And that was due to the shame and guilt of I haven't been in a position to pay them back $600 because I had poor people that I owed, a couple $100 here, a few $100 here too, throughout my life since there in the past 17 years. That I'm like, why the fuck am I going to pay billionaires $600 when I got fucking, other poor people who I borrow money back and forth with throughout my life? You know what I mean? So it's just, that's what I'm saying. The control that we're going to get over this fucking control these rich people have, and why this can't be talked about. Why can't this be talked about? Right? So, my uncle is very close. I mean, very close. They talk all the time. They're very, very, very close. And my uncle is very close to my mom now. So one day, this is about 3 years ago, I'm riding in the truck with him, and the subject of my stepdad came up, and he goes, "Oh man, that guy was a devil, huh?" And I looked at him and I go, "What?" I said, "No, he more or less an angel," I would say. So this again just gets back to the lying, the manipulation from my mom about my stepfather being the devil, the game she was playing, the lying, the manipulation in the family. I sat there and told my uncle, we had a conversation. It was like a 45-minute ride home, and it was a very awkward one because I assumed that the family knew I had been abused and all this shit was going on, and my mom was fucking psychotic. And he listened. I mean, he took it all in. He didn't say anything. But the conversation never took off from there. And he still talks to my mom. I'm sure they're praying for me every fucking day. Talking to each other, praying. Talking about how Jesus needs to come and save my soul. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. This is getting into the family. This is getting into all kinds of the connections that run very deep, that I've been dealing with, the oppression that I've been dealing with, that I've been trying to talk about, is refused. This shit does not come out. It does not get talked about. People keep on thinking, they go, why don't rich people help? Because the rich don't even help their own family. That's why. The rich don't even help their own family. Unless it benefits them. I don't know what the relationship is between my uncle. I have no idea. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. But I know when you got immediate family, that has been destitute and breaking their backs and losing their minds, and that's wrong, man. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose. All this is on purpose. They've been gaslighting me. It's all been on purpose. And that's what I'm doing. I'm calling it all out, laying it all out on the table. This is the same aunt that knew about my abuse. This is the same, cousins who had all this therapy since they were little kids, but I never got a second look, but always had this shame and guilt put on me constantly. They're worth billions, and I got shame and guilt put on me for $600 and acted like I was a drug addict. And guys, I've done just about every drug out there, but I've never been addicted to drugs because I haven't had the money to be my thing was alcohol. I was an alcoholic. That was my thing. I never hid it from anybody, ever. Never attempted to. Never tried to. That's the one thing about me. I never attempted to hide anything other than my shame and guilt that I felt all the time, and I hid that by being brash and an asshole. you know, and being part of more of the system that I hated. So yeah, this has to come out because this isn't right, you know, and this all goes in, and that's what I'm saying. None of this healing is going to happen unless this shit gets addressed. So the gaslighting and the manipulation and the lies and probably the hexes, curses, mind control, whatever else is going on, the entities, the oppression, whatever else is going on, the hexes, curses, spells, God knows, you know, I don't care because it's losing. Look, it has tried to crush me. It did a hell of a job at an attempt, but it's over. The gig's up, and you know, it's just nice knowing I have that confidence now, and it's nice getting that out there because to sit there for decades with shame and guilt placed on you by people who haven't even thought twice, you know, and that shit runs through your head every day, you know, that's not right, guys. And that shit has been done on purpose, and it's for controlling and energy, vampiric use. There's things going on. And it's all coming out in the open, and it's all going to get resolved. It's all going to get taken care of because I didn't consent to any of it. I don't consent to any of it. I relinquish all my control back, all my power back from all these entities, all these powers, all these fucking contracts that other people might have signed for me and people try to fucking put me in and manipulate me into. I take all of it back, and I will be doing thorough searches into all of it. Completely, 100%. Like I said, my emotions, there are no emotions there other than a resolve to hash it out. Like, I don't even know. It's so fresh. And it's such a major issue that needs to be dealt with. That, yeah, I don't even know how it's going to happen. It's going to happen like my healing's been happening, just in layers and by intuition. Yeah. And that being said, you know, again, I don't want anything from anybody. I don't want any material possessions. You know, all I need is a roof over my head, clothes on my back, and food in my belly. That's it. I'm a very simple man, and that's all I'm doing. I've been minimalist for a very long time. As far as the pain I was referring to in my last video, I've been dealing with that consciously since my TBI 9 years ago, or whenever it was, 10 years ago. So my life has been in excruciating pain. That's why my severe alcoholism got worse and worse. And I'm just putting this stuff out there so that way it's already out there, because these things are tending to getting held back, and it's making my healing slower. And I notice it's all on purpose. So I'm just throwing these things out there so that way they're now ruminating, and the energies are now moving in the correct directions. Because again, I do not consent to any contracts, any of this unsaid bullshit. I do not consent to this manipulation. I do not consent to this, any of it. And I will be making sure this all gets cleaned up and all my power gets taken back from wherever and whoever thinks they can be holding on to it. So yeah, man, you know, and again, it just gives me more shit, that's my motivation to be alive, you know, through all this pain that I've been dealing with for the past 10 years. And prior to that, all that pain was being masked. I was still healthy enough, and young enough, and, you know, whatever that I was able to ignore most of it. But I was hurting. I was hurting. I was really hurting. Probably since the military. Yeah, and it's just amazing, like your society and the responsibilities placed on you and the untold contracts and all of these things and the shame and the guilt and people riding your back and placing these things on you. And oh man, it's not good. I have had people use me up. And like I said, some of them consciously, knowingly, probably one or two, maybe more. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to find other than the truth. So yeah, guys, if you're wondering why the wealthy don't help out, or, if you think, you go, oh, well, these wealthy people, look, they do all this charitable, they did all this, they just gave billions of dollars here. But guys, it's all a show. They do that shit for taxes. They don't even help out. They have family that's suffering and dying. They don't even give two shits on a Sunday. They don't care about people, guys. That's what I'm saying. This is all like the Bible verses. Even though I'm completely against all this religious shit now, I mean, this, it's like they get, this whole thing's just a mind fuck. That's all it is. It's just one big mind fuck. And you have to figure it out yourself and what I'm doing is just being honest with myself. And by being honest with myself and it coming out, it's aligning and fixing things is what it's doing. And it's that simple. And all these powers that be and all these scary things, they're not scary. Our powers, that's the other thing I want to touch. Our powers, guys, and that's the other thing that's got me like really excited about life is like, I'm like, fuck, man, we must be so goddamn powerful. Like, they are so, whatever it is, all these different, because there's many different things on these different levels in this realm. That are conspiring against us. And for them to work so hard and have the manipulation be so deep and the oppression be so deep and hard, it's that you only do that to something powerful. And I know that from experience. And that's what I'm trying to say is all of this wraps around to how I was raised. The abuse that I took as a child is what I'm seeing displayed in the whole way this whole system runs. The whole system is just it's based on abuse. And everything is cognitive dissonance and everything. I'm just looking at a bunch of people like me, like the way my mom and my family and everything has been able to control and manipulate and put shame and guilt on me and use me as their, like I have said before, use me as their super soldier. Like these abusers do that, man. They turn it around on you. It's amazing. It's unreal. And that's what I see society. I'm just seeing a mirror image of my abuse and my manipulation that's happened in my life to me personally. As I'm becoming honest with myself and I've gotten sober-minded and I'm trying to heal, I'm seeing the same thing reflected in society, like all of society, everything. Every institution, every government, everything, every hierarchy of power, everything. That's what I'm saying. The whole half-truth thing, like Jordan Peterson, all this truth, and then he's all about the hierarchy of power. It's like, because that's how it's always been. No, and that's the problem. These cocksuckers keep on saying that, but that's not how it's always been. It hasn't always been. That's what I'm saying. That's why we've become enslaved. It's 2:30 in the morning. I'm 25 minutes in on this video, and I'm thinking cognitively. I'm not manic. I'm not crazy, I'm not psychotic. I'm not having crazy visions. I'm not, I'm able to string these things together, and I'm pulling these things from very deeply. I mean, this is like, takes years of fucking, I see what's happening, with the therapy of the healing of doing this and speaking this, and I see what's happening, man. And again, I think the most important point is just how powerful we are and how scared these things are, that for us to realize that power and how simple it is to heal. And it's just all about going inside and speaking our truth, no matter how much that hurts us at the moment, because man, I'm hurting. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is helping. I mean, this is the only way. The thing is I've been hurting for so long. It's so long, day in and day out. And so that last video, that had to come out so that way people could see that, I make these videos and I seem cognizant, but you don't understand. When I get off these videos, it's back to my hell. It's back to my own personal hell that I'm trying to heal from, So it's no joke, man. I'm not over here smiling and laughing and having a party when I get off of these fucking videos. I'm not over here doing a bunch of research. I can't even watch videos. I watched Tina's video this evening. It's the first video I've been able to watch since I had that panic attack 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. You know what I mean? My shit's no joke, man. I'm barely holding on. The last thing to go was my fucking physical health. And after all these concussions and that last one, that, I'm just barely holding on. That's why I had to get myself fucking physically healed enough to be able to even start tackling all this psychological and fucking spiritual and religious and mental bullshit, man. Because I knew I needed to have a healthier body, to be able to handle it. So everything's coming as it should. I'm glad this got out. Every video I do is my most important to date, because every video I do is uncomfortable. And every video I do is getting me one step closer to my healing, So, and I'm supposed to be at work tomorrow. Today, and So we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. And that's what I'm saying. And then that's what makes it hard too, is just treating myself like a slave. And what I mean by that is, as much as I'm hurting, making myself and doing everything in my power to force myself to physically go to work, when it's just every minute of it is excruciating. So I hope that explains and clears up some things. Guys, if you're poor, this is hard. Our lives are hard, and it's meant to be this way. And if you're thinking some rich cocksucker's going to come and save you, you've got another thing coming. Quit spending money on outside sources for your healing. It's all inside. And it all takes time, and it's as quick. Your healing comes as quickly, I guess, as, with mine, it's so multi-layered and fucking so many millions of days stacked of this shit. But, I know a lot of people I don't know, man. I'm not trying to act like I got worse, because I know so many people personally in my life who have way more trauma than I have. So I'm not trying to get into trauma wars like that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that I don't want you to think that your healing's going to be as difficult as mine, But yeah, man, it's coming, guys. We're getting there. Things, the ball's rolling. The energies are moving, because things can't be ignored. You know what I mean? I can't have family members praying to Jesus for me and going around talking shit about me and then acting like, everything's, that's weird shit, bud. That's weird shit. Shit's going to get solved. Shit's gonna get solved, and I'm gonna solve this. This family stuff is coming out big time, and that's where all the root of all of this is laying in the family somewhere. So, anyways, till next time.